you doing this week? Are you doing okay? I was feeling really stressed out. I was like having a rough week. I'll just just put it bluntly. It's been rough. And thank God I have all my yoga tools, but it's just been like a hard week. I've had a lot going on. And then I messaged my sister, like I haven't even been able to call my sister. I've been so busy. And I messaged her and I was like, I'm so stressed out. I have so much going on. And she was like, me too. So then I always feel better because I feel like I'm not alone. I'm like, well, at least somebody else is suffering. At least I'm not, I'm not completely alone. But the thing is that, and sometimes, who knows, maybe it's astrological, I don't know. But the thing is, yoga gives us tools to deal with these times in our life that are completely nutty. So my sister is a chef in Los Angeles. Actually, she's a business owner and a chef, and she does a ton of events. And so she is, the Van Gogh exhibit. Have you heard about it? If you haven't, you should check it out. I forget what it's called, but it's like it's experience, the Van Gogh experience, I think is what it's called. So she's the person doing the food for that in Los Angeles right now. And it's a huge, big deal, especially after a whole year of, not having business. And there's a lot going on, we all can feel that feeling of like, we have to do something. We're coming out of this horrible pandemic. We have to do something, or maybe we're going back into the pandemic. We have to do something. The reality is that our stress levels, I was feeling stressed this week. My sister was feeling it. So my assumption is that there are other people that are feeling stressed too, right? The reality is that our stress levels have been through the roof this year. I mean, let's face it, like this has been such an uncertain time, so much stress. And one of the things that happens to me is I go, I'm stressed. And so I will just do because that's what my stress is telling me to do. But, it's actually the wrong message. And I know that. I'm a yoga teacher and I know it, and I still do it. So I have to kind of like trick myself into doing things slightly differently, doing things slightly differently so that I can really cope and I can actually do the things I need to do and not just melt down, right? One of the things that we have, one of the tools we have at our disposal is the breath. And in fact, it's the most immediate tool. And as yoga professionals, you have the skills to teach this unlike anyone else. I can't tell you how many YouTube videos and emails I get from neuroscientists and doctors and health coaches and people who are not in the yoga profession teaching breathing, which always kind of makes my head go, but I'm already pitta provoked enough. So I try to pull that back in. But the issue, of course, is that, well, first of all, the issue is that they're not trained to teach this stuff. And everybody thinks like yoga is so easy to teach, you can just teach it, which, okay, whatever, I can't do anything about that. But the other piece that I think often is not understood, or it's certainly not explained, is that we have these two aspects of our psyche. We have the state of our psyche, and then we have the trait, right? So state and trait, like, are you a chill person? I'm not a chill person, but I'm getting more chill as I get older and do more yoga. I get more chill. But I do spend a lot of time in the state of being chill, right? And oftentimes those things don't get teased out enough. We don't say like, okay, here's the state of being relaxed, and whoever the latest trendy neuroscientist coming out and saying, okay, I'm going to show you the square breath and it'll help you relax and it'll affect your the nitric acid and the olfactory bulb, and you'll tune the cortical mental to a parasympathetic homeostatic state or whatever, that sort of stuff, I mean, I like that stuff. I think it's interesting and it's true, but that's making a little change in the state. But when we know from yoga practice, it's practice. You do it every day, hopefully, a little something. Like sometimes people say, oh, I don't want to practice every day because that's too brutal on myself. I'm like, don't practice like that. If your practice is brutal, like that's not necessarily that useful, so, but do a little something every day. And then we start to see over time, we see trait changes. And this is actually evidenced in the research literature, particularly the work of Chantal Vellemire and Catherine Bushnell and their team of all these amazing women. Like, I just want to have a retreat with these amazing women someday and listen to them tell their neuroscience stories. But the literature says that you make state changes immediately, but you start to make trait changes over time, right? And long-term yoga practitioners have more activity in the left hemisphere and more gray matter, which correlates with more of a parasympathetic or chill kind of state. It makes sense, right? Because they're practicing. So let's differentiate between that. And let's remember, like, one breathing practice, like, you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, do pursed lip breathing and that'll calm you down. That's great, but it's not the same thing as practicing over time and then creating changes in the trait, which is really what I think most people want. Okay, that was my little bit longer than usual lead in to what I want to share today, which is a Sunbird child's pose practice. You could call it tabletop child's pose practice if you like. And what we're going to do is manipulate the exhale. So when you teach it, and I learned this from my Vini yoga teachers, particularly Gary Krafso, but other Vini yoga teachers as well. When you take an asana that naturally lends itself to parasympathetic activation, and those asanas tend to be in three categories: forward bends, twists, and inversions, depending on the inversion, right? Passive inversions, like legs up the wall. When you take a posture like that, and then you layer on top of it the breathing techniques that are also lend themselves to parasympathetic activity, you are creating this synergy or a catalytic effect on the nervous system. And when you understand how to do that, when you understand how to put them together like that, it's amazing. You can have this really amazing effect on the nervous system that you maybe can't get from, just listening to a YouTube video with a neuroscientist. Okay, so sorry, I don't mean to beat up the neuroscientist, but you know what I'm saying. So let's come back to the mat, or where, if you don't want to do this now, you can do it later. So tabletop, simple, right? Tabletop, simple, child's pose. That's all we're going to do. When you do tabletop, to make it a little bit more optimal, you want to isometrically pull your hands back towards your knees. This is Sunbird, right? Isometrically pull those hands back. And then I'm just going to glide my chest between my upper arms. That's the movement. Try not to arch my back too much. And then the exhale, draw the belly in and put my forearms down. Okay, so that's Chakravakasana in English, Sunbird. So inhale. Now we're going to add the breath. Exhale to 5. Do it again. Inhale. Exhale to 6. If I'm going too fast for you or too slow for you, then you modify that to your breathing capacity. Inhale forward. 7. One more time. Inhale forward. And exhale to 8. And then when you finish this one, you could stay in child's pose. Now, you could do those 2 each if you'd like. You could do 8 a few more times. What you don't want to do is get to the place where you're exhaling so long that your inhale is like, right? Then you've lost the effect. So there's a law of diminishing returns there. When you overdo the exhale, then you have to gasp for air, then you've lost it, right? So you have to really measure that. If you want more ideas like this, I strongly encourage you to check out the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society. That's my membership, where I teach every Tuesday. We're switching to Wednesday mornings on August 4th. Love you to join me over there. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye.